Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I have decided to do an all signs mini reading for all signs. We are going to begin with all the water signs, moving on to earth signs, then to air signs, and then to fire signs. Couldn't think of that. All right, so give me 1 second as I get myself settled. I am doing super chat questions at the end. These are mini readings with this new moon in Sagittarius. I'll explain what that moon is in a second, what that's all about. All right, I'm just trying to get myself situated. So, hmm. I'm not answering any questions right now. I am leaving the questions till the end. All right, so. All right, so here we are. I look crazy. Okay, we are starting this. So we're going to do a mini reading in Sagittarius. The moon in Sagittarius means that we're going to be a little bit more active, a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more in a mood to take risks. Okay, that's what the moon in Sagittarius means. All right, so I am going to begin. I have here 2 decks of the Moonology cards. I'm actually going to begin with that. And then I am going to move on to tarot, oracle decks, maybe 1 or 2 cards of love just to check the energies. And then we're going to end with our oracle messages. All right, so I'm going to begin with the angel answer messages and see what are any end questions that you might have on your mind. So I'm going to answer that to see what you have on your mind, and then we're going to move on. Okay, so I'm just going to answer one question. If you guys, whatever question you have on your mind, just hold it there, and I am going to give you the answer. I'm just going to take a minute to address my Spanish people because they are here thinking that I am answering questions and I'm not. A todas las personas que estén aquí que solo entiendan español, no estoy haciendo preguntas gratis del tarot hoy. Estoy haciendo primero la lectura en inglés para todos los signos de la nueva luna que hay en Sagitario. Y al final voy a contestar preguntas solamente de super chat. Hoy no estoy haciendo ninguna preguntas gratis. Cuando termine todo lo que estoy haciendo en inglés para todos los signos en esta luna que está en Sagitario, ahí voy a salir de aquí y voy a hacer un nuevo live con de lo mismo de la luna nueva en Sagitario y una mini lectura para todos los signos. So, ahorita solamente estoy haciendo todo en inglés. Okay. So, for whatever question that you might have on your mind, what do we have? So the answer is there is something better. Okay, there is something better coming in during this season of Sagittarius. Okay, my whole thing was just interrupted. How crazy is that? All right, so we are continuing. So I was saying that if you had a question on your mind, the question is that the answer is that there is something better. Okay, we're talking about with regards to this new moon in Sagittarius. All right, and I'm using two different decks for the Moonology cards and decks. All right, so the first thing that we have, and we are first doing Cancer, we are doing a mini reading for Cancer with regards to the new moon in Sagittarius. And I was saying that this is a moment for Sagittarius. Oh, not for Sagittarius. What the moon in Sagittarius means is that this is a time for you to take risks, for you to be adventurous, for you to get out of your comfort zone. All right. So I decided to do an all signs reading for everyone, for all the signs. Okay. So don't let pride get in your way. This is a full moon um in Leo. Okay. So if you have anybody of the sign of Leo in your corner, there you go. All right. And for the next card in terms of moon, this new moon in Sagittarius, what do we have for Cancer with regards to the new moon in Sagittarius? All right. So you have the card of this is the last quarter moon in Sagittarius, which is great because we are, talking about this new moon in Sagittarius. So it's telling you to practice gratitude. You know how sometimes we ask for things, but we ask, and we don't first start our prayers or us asking by saying thank you? Well, it's telling you to practice gratitude in all areas of your life. All right. And for your energy check, what do we have for Cancer? And we have series star blessings. Okay, so you're going to be receiving blessings as we move, through this moon in Sagittarius. Remember that Sagittarius is about taking risks, it's about being adventurous, it's about getting out of your comfort zone. All right, so it says, yes, proceed, be seen, push through. If you haven't been seen, if you've been shying out, right, a little bit timid, that you don't want to put yourself in a spotlight, it is the time for you to do it. Particularly, they're telling me if you're looking for a job, this is the time for you to proceed. If you have like any plans, be yourself seen, open up, speak up, do the things that you need to do. By staying quiet, you're not going to be seen. Okay, that's not the way life works. All right. Then we move on to what do we have for Cancer, please, Spirit? Hi guys, I am doing a mini reading for all signs. For those of you who are coming in with this new moon in Sagittarius. And then we have break self-limiting beliefs for you, Cancer. The only limits are the ones you impose. Break free from outdated beliefs and unlock your true potential, right? This is what this is about, for you to proceed, for you to stop being shy. I know that sometimes Cancer could be a little shy, but they're telling you to proceed, and this confirms this card, right? When I was telling you, move on, do what you need to do, don't stay stuck, don't stay in the hangman energy. In tarot, I'm going to take out three cards. We might see the hangman. All right, moving right along. We're going to do tarot. Then we are going to see one card of the things that are in your shadow. What do we have for Cancer, please? I said the hangman. I said the queen of king of wands and the eight of wands. All right, Cancer, there is something that during this new moon you are walking away from. We have the Eight of Cups. This is something that at some point, Cancer energy, that at some point it made you really happy, but then you weren't feeling fulfilled anymore. So you're letting it go. All right, it's just not doing anything for you anymore. All right, what do we have? What else do we have for Cancer, please? What do we have for Cancer? All right, and then we have the emperor. Yeah, you need to be the emperor right now. You need, if you are a woman, men or women, but more particularly women, you need to start using your emperor energy and go into that energy, right? With leadership, not being shy, taking charge, taking risks. So it really aligns with what's happening right now with the moon in Sagittarius. Okay. One more card for Cancer. And you have the Fool for sure. New beginnings, right? You really, the message is clear here. You need to step out of your comfort zone. You need to take risks. You need to break this limiting beliefs, right? If you missed the video, rewind it so that you can see the card, the moonology cards that I use, because we're doing this whole reading with the moon in Sagittarius. All right, we're doing in all signs. I'm on Cancer right now. All right, so and then we're gonna be moving on to the. I'm doing first the water signs, then I'm doing the earth, I'm doing air, and finally I'm doing fire. Okay, so definitely a new start. You need to take a leap of faith. You need to not worry about what you have or what you don't have. Just do it. Like Nike, just do it. All right. What do we have in your shadows? We're going to pull out one card for what you have, what we see in the shadows. You have the Page of Cups. So the question for you to ask yourself is, what feeling is just beginning to form? Okay, what are you feeling right now as we move through this moon in Sagittarius? What are your feelings? Are you feeling negative? Are you feeling positive? Because what you should be feeling, now you know I don't have hair in my tongue and I let you know exactly how it is and what it is. So what you should be feeling is that you need to be taking a risk and you need to be moving forward, because no one is going to hand you anything. God always says, help yourself and I will help you, right? If you stay stuck in hangman energy, nothing is going to move for you, right? It's all about collaboration. The universe collaborates when you move forward, right? All right, we're going to take an oracle message for Cancer. What do we have for Cancer? All right. And it says, you don't lose yourself. You found the version you were supposed to be. You didn't fall apart. You fell through the fake. What's left is now you, the real, the raw, the resilient you. And that version, she doesn't settle anymore. All right. This is not a time for you to settle, right? Sagittarius is about adventure. Sagittarius is about moving. Sagittarius is wants, right? So they're telling you, you don't need to settle for breadcrumbs. We are not birds, my friends, right? We are not birds. All right. And I'm going to get a message because I know there are many of you. So, what is the message for Cancer and love? And it says, there's somebody who cannot let you go. All right. Somebody is not unwilling to let you go, unable to let you go. And we're going to take out one card for your career. I cover everything, whether I go live or whether I do my weekly readings. It's just my style of reading. All right. So you have a journey when it comes to money and career. It says you may move to a new place for work or travel for work. Exploring the world gives you the experience you need to succeed. This reading is so in sync. Once again, we're talking about Sagittarius. Sagittarius moves. Sagittarius is about action, right? So in your money and career, they're telling you to take action, move in the things that you need to do. We're ending with an oracle message. What do we have for Cancer? Then we're moving on to Scorpio. I am proud of the person I'm becoming. Good, Cancer, because you need to start moving and stop sleeping in the laurels. Life doesn't come to us, we go to it. Life is what we make it. All right, moving on to Scorpio. Angel messages for Scorpio. If you have a question on your mind, hold it there and I will give you the answer. What do we have for Scorpio? All right. Within the next few weeks, Scorpio, if there's a question that you have on your mind, there is something that's happening within the next few weeks. Okay. I'm going to check your energy and then we are going to move on to the moonology cards. I have two decks since we are talking about this moon in Sagittarius. What do we have for Scorpio? For Scorpio, please, guys. All right. And we have Stargate Heart. Your heart chakra is opening, it's unlocking. You're going to be more about, it's going to be a moment where you're going to be more generous to people. All right. If before you used to think with your mind, you're now thinking a little bit more with your heart and being generous towards people. All right. We move on to our first deck of Moonology cards. What do we have for Scorpio? Scorpio, please. All right, you have last quarter moon in Cancer. Take a breather. Some of you may be like all over the place, doing too much, and they're telling you to stop. If you are doing too much and taking on too many tasks, remember that when we take on too many things, right? When we take on too many things, we can't really um get one thing to be perfect, right? If you're doing too much. So they're telling you to be mindful of that. What do we have, please, for Scorpio? All right. And it says work through your fears. New moon in your own sign. All right. So if you're feeling a little bit of fear to move forward with anything, to take the risk that you should be taking during this full moon in Sagittarius, they're telling you you need to lose that fear and be a little bit more adventurous. What do we have for Scorpio, please? Don't get stuck because you're not gonna get anywhere that way. It says release suppressed emotions, let feelings you bury rise without shame. Cry, scream, breathe. Freedom begins where expression flows. I think that this is what is overwhelming you and making you feel tired, and the reason why you need a breather. All right, you need to take a breather. You need to stop. You need to check yourself because it's not cool, to move on, move on, move on without doing what you need to do. All right. What do we have? And we have strength, right? Yeah, finding that strength, that courage, that resilience, taming that beast. Not just so much the beast, but taming the fear that you feel that's keeping you stuck and not being able to move on. All right. And then we have the Six of Cups. There may be somebody who's coming back from your past. All right. When that person comes in, at the bottom of the deck, you have happiness with this person. I did a reading today and I got these two cards back to back. All right. This person is coming back because maybe something in the past didn't work out. It's up to you whether or not you're taking this person back, right? It's your decision. You have free will. But this is definitely somebody who's going to make you really happy if that helps in your decision making process. All right. And in the shadows, what do we have in the shadows? Whoa. My guides are really talking. I hate when they do this. I'm trying to move through this. All right. And we have the Queen of Wands. I had a feeling that she would come out during Cancer if you have your Cancer placements. And they're asking you to ask yourself, what part of my identity is fueled by attention, right? Because in the end, does attention really matter? Are you going to just do things because you're trying to seek attention? That's not the way that life works, right? Whether you seek attention or not, you need to move in your life. There are things that you need to do. All right. And for the love oracle message to see what's going on in Scorpio with love. All right, it says commitment shouldn't be a puzzle, it should be peace. If you need a Google Doc, 5 friends, and 2 oracle cards to decode their behavior, it's not commitment, it's chaos in disguise. When it's real, you don't guess, you know. All right, you guys, you may be in a situation where you're having to go to a reader, to Google, to their social media accounts, to their phone to find out what is really going on. You shouldn't have to go through this, right? Because this is not what love is. Love is about having peace. All right. And what else for Scorpio? All right. What do you see in me? Somebody may be asking themselves, what is it that you see in them? You may be asking yourself what it is you see in them. Okay, because this might just be somebody that's truly wasting your time, like we just saw in the oracle messages. We're gonna take one card for career to see what's going on. What do we have? And for Scorpio, it says outside forces, unknown figures are driving the situation, and you may not be able to control the outcome. This cycle will shift soon, and you will be okay. Okay, we're doing this because I'm doing this due to the moon in Sagittarius. And I just explained Sagittarius is about adventure, is about all kinds of things, right? It's about taking risks. And there are, the universe, God, whatever you believe in is working to help you. You're not in this process alone, all right? You may be having fear of the outcome, but in the end, you're not alone, even if it feels that way. What do we have for Scorpio, please? All right, Scorpio. So this is your oracle message. I give and receive love freely. All right. Because if this happened to you and this wasn't your person and you had to struggle and all this nonsense, it's time for you to move on and not close your heart. Remember that not everybody is the same. All right. Not everybody is the same. All right. We're moving on to Pisces. All right. Here we go, Pisces. We are going to check any the answer to any question that you might have on your mind. What do we have for Pisces? Whatever. All right, Pisces, you have the card of forgiveness. You may be needing to forgive yourself, forgive somebody. Please keep in mind, and this is something that I say all of the time. Forgiving does not mean that you continue a relationship with somebody, whether that's a friend, whether that is somebody romantically. That's not what it means. It simply means you forgive them for your own peace, right? But then again, that's your decision, right? We don't know what we're going to see in tarot, but you are needing to forgive. Before we move on to the moonology, I'm going to check your energies and see what is going on. What do we have for Pisces? Oh, actually, all my cards just, well, not all. How does that happen? I never know. Oh, I know how that happened. Okay. What do we have for Pisces? All right, Pisces. It says crystal skull with wisdom, clarity, divine healing, high vibrational energy. All right, you're probably, really thinking negative these days and you're vibrating low. They're telling you to somehow find a way to heal, right? You have to heal. Without healing, you cannot move forward. When we go through pain, right, in love, and we're healing, if you think about it, we go through a trickle down effect, right? We're not only affected by the fact that we're hurt because somebody left us, we're also affected because then we don't have the energy to go to work, our money is affected, and all these things happen. It's like a trickle down effect that just goes down the line, right? We're moving on to the first deck of Moonology. Once again, we are doing a mini reading for all signs with this full moon in Sagittarius. What do we have, please? And we have here full moon in Virgo. Take inspire action. All right. If you haven't been moving, it's time for you to move. It's time for you to take some action. We might see some wands as we check tarot. What do we have for Pisces? All right, nothing is yet set in stone. All right, so you may be thinking about doing something, worried about doing something, but whatever it is that you're doing is not set in stone. There's always time for you to change it. Okay, change the plan, change your idea, tweak some things, right? Nothing is set in stone. What do we have for Pisces? What do we have for, thank you. All right. And it says, understand karmic returns. What you send out into the universe comes back. Be mindful of your energy, right? Be mindful of how you're treating people, whether that's kind or unkind, because no matter what it is, karma has everybody's address. All right. So be very mindful of the things that you do. Sometimes people get on our nerves, and the first thing that comes to mind, I'm going to get them back for whatever they did to me. That is not the way life works. All right. So they're telling me be mindful of particularly your anger. All right, what do we have? I'm going to pull out one oracle message. And it says, you don't lose yourself. You found the version you were supposed to be. You didn't fall apart. You fell through the fake. What's left now is you, the real, raw, resilient you, and that version, she doesn't settle anymore. Okay, so try not to settle for people that, and I'm not just talking about romantically, I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about, yes, romantically, particularly, but people who are not giving back to you the same energy that you give, and all you do is give, then you don't need to have them in your life. Because no matter what love is or what kind of love it is, it's a give and take situation, right? All right, we're gonna move on to tarot. We are up to Pisces now. So what do we have for Pisces, please? All right, you have the Ace of Cups. All right, you might be feeling that after you went through all of this hell with a particular person, there might be somebody who comes in. All right, you may also be celebrating certain things in your life that are happening, that happened. Okay, but they're also telling you not to close your heart to love. I just finished telling you that not every situation and everybody is the same. Okay, you may be also a person who's offering love, compassion to somebody. What do we have for Pisces? That's too much spirit, too more. All right, yeah. You have the Five of Cups and the High Priestess. I could understand you feeling like, I regret what I did. I wasted my time with a person, and that's fine. But you can't lose sight of what you have behind you, right? You can't lose sight of the things that you have going forward in your life. Do not dwell and despair on the past, all right? Move forward, even though I know it's not easy. But now you've learned the lesson, and you know that you need to move forward with what do you call, paying attention to your intuition, right? Not throwing yourself to nonsense, and really giving your time to people who are worth giving your time to. All right, we're gonna check what's in your shadow. What do we have for Pisces, please, Spirit? All right, you have the Two of Cups, right? We were just saying that if somebody hurt you and somebody comes in, there is the answer to everything, right? There is better. And it says to ask yourself, what am I seeing in another person? Okay, whenever you come across with a new person, you let this one go already. There's somebody new that's coming in. Ask yourself, you know, what am I seeing in this situation, right? Whether good or bad, but vet the situation. All right. What messages do we have in love for Pisces? And it says, I'm stuck in a vision of us together. So this person that left might be literally maybe feeling some type of regret, right? Thinking, well, I let this person go. I didn't appreciate enough, and now I'm stuck in the vision of us together. I don't know, maybe some time has passed by where this person has now reflected. All right, we're gonna see what is happening in money and career for Pisces. And it says gift. You are uncovering new talents that will land you new work and better in a better position. You could get more money with the deals as well. All right. So you might be getting an offer, a deal, an opportunity to work with somebody, literally a gift that somebody gives you at work. All right. It may not be your birthday, but maybe a bonus, right? Because you were working hard, you were focused on what you needed to do. All right. Oh, let me give you your oracle message. What do we have for Pisces, please? All right, Pisces. And you have, I am guided by curiosity and wonder. All right. So be curious, see where that leads you, because being curious, you find more things about yourself, right? Sometimes boredom brings us to do better for ourselves. All right, we're moving on to Capricorn. I am now doing all the earth signs. If you have a question on your mind, Capricorn, hold it there, and I am going to give you the answer. All right. If there's a plan or something that you are in the process of doing, they're telling you to wait. All right, wait. And if you guys are here watching for your sign, I do not take the card, so you're gonna have to be patient, and my guide's giving me the card. All right, so just wait a little longer. Research. Okay, think about this. All right, they're not telling you don't do it. They're simply saying just wait a little longer. Remember that God's timing is always perfect. As corny as that may sound, God's timing is always perfect. All right, and that's what I like to see. My cards flying because I call in my guides. I do a whole ritual before I do these readings, even when I do my weekly readings. All right. It says Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. All right. So if you connect to the divine, if you ask your guides, you're going to be receiving downloads with regards to what we just said you needed to wait on. All right. So pray about it. We might see the high priestess as we do tarot. All right. With our first moonology deck, what do we have for Capricorn? I love Capricorn. They are my opposite sign. I am a Cancer, and I just love Capricorn. All right. So we have first quarter moon in Libra. Keep your heart open. I just set this to Pisces. So if you have your any of your placements in Pisces, rewind and watch that. All right. So keep your heart open. Just because somebody, fucks you over does not mean that everybody is the same. I will go, you know, grow old, gray hairs and everything saying this to people. Not everybody is the same. Be inspired by those couples that you see are so happy. Let that inspire you and keep your heart open. All right. And the next moon card, it says, show the world the real you, right? This is a moon in Aquarius. If your placements are in Aquarius, go check that. Well, I haven't gotten into Aquarius yet, but go to my channel and check out that Aquarius reading. I read in English and in Spanish. So you can check out all those readings. If you speak English, go check out the Spanish readings and use English subtitles. That's what they're there for. All right, trust the path ahead. Trust in the unfolding of your life. Every step is part of your journey to becoming who you're meant to be. Remember, guys, that I am doing a mini reading for all signs in this new moon in Sagittarius. However, if you are called to see these, there is a reason for that. Nothing is coincidence. We are all energies. All right. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Do not pivot. Do not let people, you know, put you in the wrong path. Do not be influenced by people. Okay, hold on a second because I need to do the oracle. Love oracle for Capricorn, please. What do we have for Capricorn? All right. It says the wrong ones show up loud, the right ones show up steady. Drama doesn't equal passion, it equals exhaustion. The real ones don't chase, ghost, or breadcrumb. And this is another thing that I love to say, you guys. We are not birds, we are humans. So do not waste your time with people who are breadcrumbing you. Life is too short. They just show up consistently, quietly, and with snacks. Trust the calm. All right. So, if somebody did walk out of your life, just know that it gets better and that there is better. What do we have for Capricorn, please? Can I have 3 cards for Capricorn? Hi, guys. Welcome. If you are just joining me, I am doing a mini reading for all signs with this new moon in Sagittarius. What does that mean? That means that you need to begin to take risks. Sagittarius is all about adventure, getting out of your comfort zone. So you need to move, move, move. All right. All right. With the 7 of Wands, I'm so proud of you. Capricorn, you are standing your ground. Okay, you are standing for the up for the things that you believe. They are also telling you to communicate. A closed mouth does not get fed. Okay, if you need to speak to somebody at work with regards to your race, that is what I'm getting. You need to speak up. You may be in high regret with regards to a situation, with regards to a person that you were with regards to a job that you were in, right? And now you may be looking for something different. Last card, please. But remember that just because you lose something, you regret something, it doesn't mean that life doesn't go on, right? He has three cups that are still standing behind, right? And the moral of the story is appreciate what you have. And that is what's going to help you to heal. All right. And you have the sun. How beautiful. All right. So just if you continue to believe in yourself, right? And trust in yourself and opening your heart. Okay, you're gonna begin to see things clearly, and nothing but good is going to come out of that. All right, this may be a time for you to forgive somebody, a person, a thing, a thought, yourself. All right, they're telling me strongly. And what we have in the shadows for you is, what do we have for Capricorn, please? We have the Two of Cups. So once again, because I just Pisces got this, they're telling you to ask yourself, what am I seeing in the other person? All right. They're not telling you to ask yourself that question because you're going, oh, what am I seeing in this person? No. They're just telling you, what are you seeing in that person? Is that person worth your time? Is that person giving what you are giving, right? Because again, we are not birds. We are not going to take breadcrumbs from people who aren't going to invest as much as we are willing to invest. End of story. All right. What messages do we have in love for Capricorn? If you're cross watching, welcome. All right, I'm obsessed with you. There is somebody who is really obsessed with you. You know, sometimes when people leave us and then they begin to reflect about how much they fucked up, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. So there might be a person who comes back into your life because they effed up. And now they're coming begging and pleading, realizing that you're not a bird. Hello, hon. If you guys are coming in, I think you saw that the post said that I'm doing an all signs for our moon in Sagittarius. All right, for love and career, not love and career, career for Capricorn, we have a prickly situation. You need both tact and diplomacy to reach your goals. The struggle is worth the price. Work around the issue and use a gentle touch. All right, so I just told you that when we did tarot that you might need to speak up with regards to a race. Yes, this is a prickly situation, but like I always say, closed mouth does not get fed. If you need your money and you need a salary increase, you ask for it. If they don't give it to you, life goes on, right? You know what it's time to do? It's time for you to find another job. Simple. Sometimes we complicate life and it's really not that complicated. And if you need to stay, play your cards right and be strategic. Don't leave unless you have something to back you up. And then if you need to leave, put it in writing. Okay? Like I always share with you guys, I am a two-time award-winning actress. I am a counselor with a master's degree. I am an inventor. I am a professional tarot reader. If I give you this advice, it's not only because I am a counselor with a master's degree, right? Because people love to throw around counselor, counselor, counselor. But where's your degree? Because to me, not everybody is a counselor. All right. You have to be fully prepared and equipped to take on a counseling role. Okay. So I've been there, done that. Okay. So do things the way that you should. Do not burn bridges and put it in writing. Exit in writing. Okay. What do we have for Capricorn? All right. I'm going to take the top one because I normally let them come out, but when my guides tell me take it, I take it. The path unfolds as I take each step. All right, little by little, you're going to get to where you need to be. All right, baby steps. Just because it doesn't happen as soon as you want it, it means nothing. All right, it means it's going to happen when it is supposed to happen. All right, we are moving on to Taurus. Welcome, Taurus. So we are going to begin with our angel answers. What answers do you have for Taurus, please, guys? All right. Taurus, you have in the near future. There may be something you may be asking, something that you need to do. They're telling you that in the near future, you may get what you're getting. All right, so I have a question from somebody. May I ask? Today, I am doing super chat questions at the end. I am not doing free questions today. All right. What do we have in the energies for Taurus? All right. Taurus, in your energy check, we have Lemurian seed codes, embracing sensitivity, uniqueness, living with grace, right? Embrace your uniqueness. You are not like everybody else. I just told you that, right? If people are not going to give you what you deserve, you keep on moving. All right. We're going to do the first deck of Moonology. Whenever there is a moon in any sign, I whip out my Moonology cards. What do we have, please, for Taurus? Guides, what do we have for Taurus? Do not make me ring this bell. All right. And this is a full moon in Leo. Huh? They're telling you to go wild. Have a little fun. We might see the Three of Cups. All right. As I am not any tarot reader, right? And those of you who know me know that I predict the cards and the cards come out. I'm not just any reader. All right. So go wild. Go out. Have a little fun. I feel your energy and I feel like you're always like this. Nine of Swords energy. What do we have for Taurus? All right, it says you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. All right. So if you are down and out because you might feel that you need to protect yourself from something, you're safe. And then it's not just you, it's you and your loved ones. What do we have for Taurus, please? Choose wisely. All right. If you need to find out some information with regards to something, do that. Do not go in this Knight of Swords kind of energy and be so abrupt in doing something. It says every choice matters. Choose with intention and your future will align with your soul's purpose. Don't just choose to choose, right? It is important for you to choose with intention. All right. We're moving on to tarot. Let me We're gonna do an oracle love card. What do we have for Taurus, please? Uh, Oh, how I hate when this happens. Spirit guys, please do not drop my cards. It's so hard for me in this space to go looking for cards. What do we have, please, for Taurus? Taurus, you may be getting a headache. I'm getting a headache all of a sudden. I do not understand. So please let me know in the comments if you, whenever you watch this, if you had a sudden headache over the weekend. All right. And it says for your oracle card, you don't need approval, you need alignment, right? We just saw the alignment card. So it says stop searching for connection in places that drain you. You don't need to be liked, you need to be understood without apology. That's alignment, baby. Okay, so you don't need to be, getting an apology from anybody. If somebody left your life, F them, all right? You do not need to be apologizing to anybody. All right. So we're going to move on to tarot. What do we have for Taurus, please? Three cards for Taurus. All right. You're going to be, there's a little bit of justice that's coming in. See, you might be in this Nine of Swords. Not any tarot reader. I called it. All right. So Ace of Swords. You may be gaining, like I was saying, sorry, you may be getting a little bit of justice. The Ace of Swords, to me, I've been doing this for 20 plus years, is justice in the minor arcanas. Okay, justice in the major is the justice card, right? But in the minors, for me, it is the ace of swords. So you're gaining mental clarity. Whatever may have been unjust in your life lately becomes to turn in your favor. All right. You may be getting new ideas, new plans, a way to make money, just a lot of mental clarity. All right. And this is when truth strikes. Okay, if you've been lying to yourself about something, right, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, I kind of was wrong about that. All right, because this is a lot having to do with the analytical ability, right? Virgo is a lot about being analytical. But with the Ace of Swords, that's what this is about, right? And then you have the Empress. I'm getting a lot with this. I'm getting you. Some of you may be like changing your look, cutting your hair, going shopping. All right, just being creative with your own look. Like you're probably saying, I'm tired. I'm tired of this look, right? Maybe you always dress up. Now you're like, I'm gonna dress more down. All right. But you may be also, if you have children, you may be like in that mode that you want to spend more time with them. Okay, I use this cup of water, which you can barely see, to channel. So you may be wanting to spend more time with your children. Some of you may be feeling like a little bit of guilt, right? And since this new moon in Sagittarius is about action, adventure, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I haven't been too active in the life of my kids. I'm really feeling like you got to get out of those habits with the devil, those habits of um me, not intentionally, not because you're a bad parent. This goes to mothers and fathers, but simply because you're too focused in your work. You're too focused in when it comes to habits. You're too focused on obsessing with things, right? And now you're beginning to realize with the Ace of Swords, like, yeah, I can keep doing this, right? A little bit of mental clarity. Let me put more action into the things that I haven't been putting action to. What do we have for Taurus, please, in the shadows? What they need to work on? All right, and you have the Strength. Ask yourself, where am I holding back softness? Okay, so if you have been a little tough with people, your kids, your husband, your significant other, friends, family members, just chill. Okay, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna become a repellent, and people are not gonna want to be around you, and that's not a good feeling. Okay, especially if you are changing your image, right? You want to attract people, you don't want to push people away. All right, in money and career, what do we have for Taurus? Gifts. I think Pisces had this. All right, you are uncovering new talents that will land you new work and better position. You could get more money with a deal as with good deals as well. So that's what also the Ace of Swords is about, right? Clearing your mind, thinking, what am I good at? How can I, engage in a side hustle? How can I make more money? Right? So think about that in terms of money and career. All right. What do we have to end for Taurus for their oracle messages, guys? Please. And it says, I'm abundant in love, time, and possibility. Yes, you are, Taurus. All right. So do not lose that hope. Think, think, think. Think of what you can do to better yourself. They're telling me they're giving me the workshop. So maybe like take a workshop on YouTube online, those free workshops, they might really help you in your career. Virgo, welcome and hello. So, Virgo, we are doing a little mini reading for actually all the signs with this new moon in Sagittarius. We are going to begin with the angel answer messages. If you have a question, please hold it on your mind and I'm going to give you the answer within the next few months. All right, there may be something, we might see the magician in tarot. There may be something, remember that I am not just any tarot reader, and the proof is in the pudding that I have on my channel over 2,000 videos that show that I predict the cards and the cards come out. That's what sets me aside from a lot of readers. All right, so within the next few months, something is going to happen that you have been really manifesting. Do not give up on the hope, on your miracle, on your wish fulfillment, because it will happen, Virgo. I was just talking about you, Virgo, with Taurus, because I was saying that Virgos are so analytical. All right, Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. All right, so yeah, this whole thing of this happening within the next few months, this is all about, thinking ahead. All right, listen to your intuition, connect with spirit, connect with the universe, and receive those downloads for guidance. Okay, you are not alone. We are never alone. Even though we don't see our spirits around us, doesn't mean they are not there. All right, moving on with our first deck of Moonology. Thank you, Spirit. That was fast. All right, so work through your fears, Virgo. Okay, you may be feeling a little bit of fear with regards to outcomes. If you're finding a job and you haven't been able to find it, if you are in a relationship and you are afraid that it may not last. All right. If any of your placements are in any of these signs, there you go. Next Moonology card for Virgo. All right. New Moon in Aries. They're telling you to go for it. Go for it. Do not have any fear. Okay. Stay in your power. That's what we saw in the last card. And when we were checking your energies, stay in your power and have no fear. The devil is a liar. We might see the devil. We might see the devil. I already told you we might see the magician and the devil. All right. Release the inner criticism. Okay. This might be part of the fear, Virgo. Silence the inner critic. Speak to yourself with kindness and watch your confidence soar. There is definitely a fear when it comes to your confidence. And I broke it down to you of all of what it could be, right? I channel a lot. I use this cup of water to channel. I was doing this since I was 9 years old without the use of tarot. Tarot came into my life when I was in high school, and I never wanted to do it. And it wasn't until recently that I was like, all right, I'm gonna join YouTube because I know my gifts and I know how I set myself aside from all the other readers. Happiness isn't optional, it's a requirement. Your joy isn't an afterthought, it's your damn birthright. If they dim your light to feel brighter, they're not your people. You were meant to cope. You were meant to glow. All right. So do not waste your time with people who may be envious, who tell you, oh, yeah, I'm so happy for you, when in reality, they're not. All right. So do not dim your light because of why do people care what other people say? Guys, people are always going to talk. All right. People are always going to have diarrhea of the mouth, and you just need to ignore it. Because if you know your heart, we might see the sun. We might see the nine of swords, two of swords. What do we have for Virgo, please? Three, two more, two more for Virgo. Thank you. Justice at the bottom of the deck. All right. You may be dealing with some legal situations, contracts, feeling like life hasn't been just. I don't know why I'm getting a lot of situations happening at work that are being that are out of balance, causing you chaos, a boss that isn't fair. All right. We'll see what comes out when we do career. All right. Yeah, this could be a king of swords in your job. A person that does not hold their tongue can be a little bit abrupt, can be a little bit of an asshole, if I'm honest. All right. They're very smart, but they're all about authority. They're not those kind of bosses who, see you just as another human being. But this can also mean that you are coming across a person who's going to give you good advice. Okay. Take it as it resonates. There are a lot of people who are watching me. All right. But I'm definitely feeling strong. There is an asshole of a boss. Okay. So with the page of wands, you're staying focused. It seems like in the near future, you're going to take my advice and not let this get in the way. All right. Um, Try and also think about having a little bit of fun. Be a little bit of adventurous. I think I may have mentioned it to you. And seize an idea, a plan, um, a way of a side hustle, whatever it may be. Okay. It's almost like seize the moment. All right. Stay focused on what you need to do. And then wish fulfillment. All right, options with the Seven of Cups. However, remember that everything that glitters is not gold. All right, so some things can just be a fantasy in your head. Do not daydream. Okay. The good things is that you're gonna have choices. The not so good thing is that you need to learn how to choose. All right, because not everything that glitters is gold. And when it comes to people, we see their faces, but we don't see their hearts. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. What do we have for Virgo? We have the Knight of Pentacles in your shadow. If they're telling you to ask yourself, what responsibility have I fully claimed? All right. Ask yourself, have you been a little bit irresponsible? Right? Have you actually done the things that you are supposed to do? Or have you been procrastinating with the things that you are supposed to do? All right, we're moving on to money and career. What do we have, please, for Virgo? All right, power position. You are being promoted or called to lead. Time to step into your I can never say this word. So veterinary, I don't know, and guide others with compassion. All right. I just talked to you about your boss being a complete asshole who does not lead with compassion, right? You will not be that person. All right. You need to move forward with compassion if you are being given a leadership position. Okay. Try to be more heart over mind. Oh no, wrong deck. All right. What do we have in love messages for Virgo, please? Don't put up with the BS. You can't make this up. You cannot. You cannot make this up. So basically, do not put up with the nonsense that your boss is saying to you and with the treatment that how with the ways that your boss is treating you. Okay, speak up. A closed mouth does not get fed. Okay, do not put up with a boss because sometimes I know it's a love oracle, but I channel. So they're telling me this could be, of course, with a love person, a person romantically that you're not going to put up with their bullshit, right? But I'm getting strongly this is a boss and it doesn't leave me. All right, oracle message for Virgo. All right, I already have everything I need within me. Yes. All right, so you need to know your worth, your value, and if you're not being appreciated at your place of work, keep it moving. It's simple. All right, moving on to it's been great, Virgo, Gemini. All right, Gemini, welcome. We are doing a reading for the full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, what do we have for Gemini? Recovery. Some of you may recover, not necessarily from health issues, but recovering from a heartbreak, recovering from anything that this fits into your life somehow. All right. So you are going through a major recovery. What do we have in the energies for Gemini? Gemini, you have Akashic Stargate aligned with purpose, crossroad, no wrong path. All right. So you are in the right path. Do not pivot. Do not let people change your mind of what you need to do and how you need to do it. All right. What do we have for Gemini? All right. Take inspired action. This is a full moon in Virgo. All right. So if you haven't been moving with something, it's time for you to start moving. We might see the King of Wands when we do tarot. One second, you guys. All right. My lips are so dry. All right. We are doing Gemini for those of you who are just joining. All right. And the next Moonology card we have, what do you need to release? All right. So think about that, you guys. All right. If you have a pent up things, what is the word? Resentment, you need to let it go. All right. We might see the Three of Swords. Let's see if this clarifies for us. What do we have for Gemini, please? And it says release the inner critic. Yes, it does. Criticism, all right? Silence the inner critic. Speak to yourself with kindness and watch your confidence soar. All right. Stop beating yourself up because you may have regrets. We might see the 4 or 5 of cups. Okay. Do not beat yourself up. All right. We're gonna do love oracle. And it says, your past didn't break you, it built you. Those scars, they're not tragic, they're trophies. You don't need to hide the mess. Your heartbreak made you fluent in realness. Own every cracked corner. All right. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Yes, you went through it, and that's okay. God, we might see the tower. God removes things, that do not need to be in our lives. What do we have, please, for Gemini? 3 cards for Gemini, please. One, two more. One more. One more for Gemini. All right. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. So if somebody did leave your life, there's somebody that comes in that's so much better, that's gonna give you what you deserve with this 4 of Wands. 11, 11. Whenever you see 211, 311, make a wish. All right, followed by your favorite prayer. Pray on it. All right, so you're gonna be celebrating, you're gonna be in harmony. This person that comes in may even propose to you at some point. Things may move quickly. This is going to be a person who's going to bring a lot of joy to your life. It's going to be so different than whoever the last person was. This person left you in your head about a lot of things, right? Feeling like, what is wrong with me? What do I not offer? There was nothing wrong with you. Something was wrong with them. And if you stay focused, right? The 10 of Pentacles is no joke, right? For me, the 6 isn't, but the 10, whoa. All right. So in the near future and soon, you may be working towards that financial stability, that security, leaving a legacy for the people that you love, and you're going to be able to accomplish that. All right. Okay. We are moving on to checking your shadow. What do we have? And you have the strength. It says to ask yourself, where am I holding back softness? All right. Don't be too, you know, mean to people, too rude, too tough. All right. What do we have in money and career for Gemini? Yikes. Shedding. All right, you are starting to outgrow your work situation. Yeah. So some of you may be looking for another job, getting another job. All right. So you may be doing well in your job search. You need to set higher goals and standards. You work well in healing and medicine. All right. So some of you may be considering going into nursing, doing something in the medical field, right? What do we have for? What are we doing next? Oh, your oracle messages. Oracle messages or message for Gemini. The love meant the love meant for me will never require struggle. So this reading aligns so well. All right. So somebody leaves your life, somebody else comes in, and this person makes you really happy. And that confirms that things don't need to be in your life that do not need to be there. Simple. All right. We're moving on to Libra. Hello, Libra. All right. So what do we have for angel answers for Libra? We are doing this moon in Sagittarius. All right, trust. Trust the process, trust yourself, trust someone. All right. Some of you may be a little bit guarded. I feel protecting yourself. We might see the 3 of Swords because maybe there was a little bit of pain that caused me to feel guarded. All right. Actuarial light codes, evolutionary downloads, right? This is the third time this card comes out today. Recalling power, future thinking. All right, future thinking is great. All right, and so is recalling your power. I'm telling you, you may have felt like you were a little bit guarded, and but pay attention to whatever downloads that you might get. All right, because those are always our guides trying to tell us something. What do we have for Libra? So our first moonology card for Libra is prosperity lies ahead, right? Because if you stay focused in the things that you need to do not, get distracted, right? Because people, things, thoughts, negative thoughts can distract us. So they're telling you, stay focused, you got this. All right. Do not pivot where you shouldn't be pivoting. With our next moonology deck, we have last quarter moon in Gemini. Clear your mind for sure. All right. You can't plan, you can't think if you do not have your mind clear. We might see the Nine of Swords. What do we have for Libra? It says, understand karmic returns. What you send out into the universe comes back. Be mindful of your energy. All right, you guys. So be mindful because karma has everybody's address. Do not do things that you don't want people to do to you, right? Or things that you know are going to bite you in the ass later. All right. Let me do an oracle love message. What do we have for Libra? We have, if they can respect your peace, they don't deserve your presence. Respect isn't just about being nice, it's about honoring your whole self. If someone makes your nervous system glitch, it's not love, it's a red alert. Protect your vibe. Okay. That's the reason why you're maybe feeling so protected. Didn't make it up. I told you you were feeling protected. I'm not just any tarot reader. Right. Moving on with tarot. Can I have three cards for Libra, please? Two, one more. All right. And we have here the Knight of Cups. You may be getting literally a love offer. I just saw the death card. All right. Yeah. There's no gender in tarot, all right? But this is somebody that comes in, and this could be somebody proposing anything to you, but doing so with a beautiful heart, as I like to say. Okay. This could be for sure romance, right? Somebody that's charming, somebody who wears their heart not on their sleeve but on their forehead, right? And they may be coming to you in a kind way to say, you know what, I have this to offer to you. Do you take it? Do you leave it? All right, because there is a new beginning. Okay, a leap of faith that you're taking with somebody. Okay. um and since this moon in Sagittarius is about taking risks, I'm not surprised that the Fool will come out more than once. All right. And then you have justice. Whatever has not been working in your favor, it begins to turn around. This could also have to do with legal documents that you may be signing, right? This is cause and effect. We just saw the card that came out that said to be mindful of the things that you do, right? Because karma has everybody's address. So remember to keep some type of balance in your life when you're doing things, okay? If some of you right now are in a custody battle, it is going to work out in your favor. We move on with money and career. What do we have for Libra? Freedom. You need to have more flexibility with your schedule and income. Being self employed is ideal. Time off will help you get clear. All right. Maybe you just need a little rest. All right. But if you guys are in the process of thinking, you know what? Maybe I just want to go on my own. Maybe I don't want to work for anybody anymore. Go for it. All right. As we saw in the beginning. Okay. So just do what you need to do. Stay focused. If being self employed is ideal, then that's what you need to do. All right. Because we can force ourselves to be happy in a career that we're not really happy with. All right. What do we have in love? What is the message? Don't put up with my BS. Okay. I think Gemini just got that. So basically, if you are putting on with somebody else's nonsense, don't. Life is too short for that. What do we have for Libra? I'm worthy of big, beautiful dream. Okay, so exactly. So because of that, there is no reason for you to put up with nonsense with people, right? Okay. Moving on to Aquarius. All right, Aquarius, we are going to start with angel answers. Within the next few months. All right. So there's something that's going to be happening. This could be something you ask for, something random that happens. All right. But I think it's more something that you know about. Maybe, maybe you filled out something for a particular place and you're waiting for a response. What do we have in your energy check? All right, we have Gaia Gateway activation, learning experience, wisdom, transmission, earth intelligence. All right, some of you may be taking like a class, returning back to school, trying to improve your skills, right? And that's never a positive thing because it's only to improve yourself. All right, what do we have for Aquarius? And it says, clear your mind. Your mind may be cloudy. You may be unable to think. We might see the Nine of Swords when we do tarot. What do we have for? All right. A personal issue reaches resolution. Okay. If you were going through something or something was pending, something personal, you're going to find that it reaches a resolution soon. What do we have for Aquarius? Step beyond comfort. Growth only happens outside the comfort zone. Embrace discomfort as a sign of progress. All right. So that's what I was telling you. Get out of your comfort zone. That's what the moon in Sagittarius is. This blue moon is about getting out of your comfort zone and doing something different. All right. Oracle love. What do we have for Aquarius, please? And we have stop explaining your piece to people addicted to chaos. Your calm, we might see the Five of Wands. Your calm will confuse those who live in drama loops. Let them spiral. You've got stillness to protect. Your serenity is sacred, non negotiable. All right. That's what I always say. If people come into my life to rob my peace, then you need to go. Okay. All right. Now we move on to tarot. We're going to take out 3 cards to see what we might see. 3 cards for Aquarius, please. Then I have 3 cards. One. You may be feeling like a little bored too. But regardless of that, they're telling you to stay focused. Yeah, look. The Queen of Cups. Stay focused. She's focused. All right. And Yeah, you're probably tired of routines, tired of the everyday, right? Feeling like you're down and out, but be careful with that energy because you may be missing out on something that wants to come in for you. All right. So be alert. But stay focused. Don't lose that opportunity that's being given to you. Okay. Go on an adventure. That's what this new moon is about. Once again, do things that you haven't done ever done before. And with the Ace of Cups, there may be some type of love coming in. You may find out that you're pregnant, that somebody is pregnant, but you may be very compassionate this upcoming week, all right? Being very kind to people more than usual. And probably there might be something you may be needing to celebrate in the month of June. It is graduation season, all right? But it's also wedding season. All right. We move on to money and career. Hold on. Let me do your shadow, what you need to work on. And you have here what thought what thoughts keep repeating in your mind. All right. What are the thoughts that keep repeating? Think about that. Don't let it stress you. It's not worth it. Okay. It really is not worth it. I would have called out the Nine of Swords, but we did tarot already. All right, Aquarius. We are going to see, what do we see in money and career? And you have star power. All right, you need engaging work that will let your talents shine. You are a natural actor and influencer. You attract fame and fortune. So if you are like an influencer, if you're engaging in a new job, whatever it is that you may be doing, it's gonna go well. All right, you're gonna be recognized for your work, and that's gonna actually get you to feel like I want to keep doing this. If people are, I'm gonna be appreciated. I want to keep doing this. What do we have for Aquarius? It says, I wish I could be fully honest with you. All right. Somebody in your love life or in love in general, okay, may want to be honest with you, may want to say something to you. All right. We are moving on to Aries. All right, Aries. We are going to pull an angel answer card. We have it's up to you. All right. So there's something that you're wanting to make a decision on. They're just basically telling you it's up to you. Do not lose sight of it being up to you. What do we have, please, for Aries? Kashyap records. Clearing all stories, releasing past lives, and freedom. All right. You may be in a strong need to just be free, to have a little fun. We might see the Three of Cups, right? To do something different. What do we have for Aries in our first Moonology deck? All right, take a breather. Yes, that confirms. You do need to take a little break to do a little breather. All right. What do we have for Aries? All right, Aries. It says adjustments are required. So they're just telling you take a little look at the things, at the plans that you're doing. You may need to what is it that I like to say? Um Tweak things around, okay? They're not telling you that they're whatever you're doing is completely wrong or disastrous, but just take a second look. It's kind of like when we're in college and we write a paper, right? We edit, we keep checking to see what's going on. That's all they're telling you to do. All right, Aries. Okay, so you have full moon in Aries in your own sign. Cool your emotions. Your emotions may be a little out of balance. We might see the Two of Pentacles. All right, so maybe even the devil. I think that if once you go into like routines, boredom kicks in, and that's what may cause you to feel that way. What do we have for Aries, please? All right, overcome self-doubt. This could be the reason why too. All right, we might see the Nine of Swords, you in your head too much. All right, but it says self-doubt clouds your vision. Trust in your abilities and take the leap. Your future self will thank you. So when I told you you may need to tweak something, still take the leap, okay? Don't get out of your path, all right? Stay there. Don't, for one thing, think that you're doing something wrong or that something is not going to go well. And then in the love oracle, we have closure isn't a text, it's a decision. Waiting for them to say sorry or explain is like waiting for the sun to rise at midnight. Closure isn't delivered, it's discovered inside you. When you stop waiting, you start living. All right. So if you send somebody a message, do not, stay by the phone, keep it moving. They don't care, okay, and you shouldn't either. All right. It's when you show that you don't care that they start to care. It's just energy. All right, you guys. So do not wait around for people to say sorry to you, to respond to your text. Move on. Everything heals in time. Believe me when I tell you. You may be feeling like if you break up with somebody, that pain is there, but everything heals. Time heals everything. All right, we must see the Three of Swords. And there you have it. You can't make this up. You can't. I'm not just any reader. You cannot make this up. All right, because I can see how your heart is broken, how you might be in hangman mode because this happened. Two more, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the hangman. Two more for Aries, please. That's why I tell you, go and look at my channel if you don't believe that I call out the cards. That's what sets me aside from so many readers. All right, and you have the fool because you were hurt and now you're moving on. You probably were doing this so much, waiting for an answer, waiting for a text, waiting for an apology. And it's finally like you grew tired and you're just taking a leap of faith to move on. If they care enough, right, they'll come back. And then at that moment, it's up to you to decide if you want to take them back. What do we have for Aries? One more for Aries. Yep, I knew it. Nine of Swords again. All right, I am not just any reader. I knew you were in your head. This wasn't easy because you were in your head about why isn't this person calling me? Why isn't this person saying sorry to me? Because they don't give a shit. Simple. They're all about themselves. What's in the shadows? All right, ask yourself, Three of Swords again. Wow. What truth hurts to acknowledge? All right. Does it hurt that they didn't say sorry to you? Does it actually hurt what they did to you? Is it what they did to you or is it a sorry? Which one is it? Think about it and then slowly let it go. Let it go in your own time. Go in hermit mode and come out of that when you're ready. But don't close your heart. What would this person want to say to Aries or any person for that matter? Wow. If I could go back in time, I would use a different way to deal with our problems. You got tired. Either you got tired, they got tired, whatever the case may be. The point here is that humans are not birds to be dealing with people's bullshit and with their breadcrumbs, right? If people can value you, you let them go. You don't need their sorry. You don't need anything. You only need to move on because time heals everything. So if you think about it, whenever we feel hurt because somebody hurts us emotionally in love, it's a trickle down effect, right? It affects our work. We don't want to go to work. It's a lot of things that are involved in that pain that we feel. And it's not an easy or pleasant process. All right. Money and career. What do we have for Aries? And it says outside forces, unknown figures are driving the situation, and you may not be able to control the outcome. This cycle will shift soon and you will be okay. All right. So you're gonna be fine. You're not alone. Whether this is if you're looking for a new job, if you are starting a new business, you're not alone. There might be a little bit of fear. Am I doing this right? Is this gonna go well? It will. All right. Oracle messages for Aries. And it says, I am worthy of big, beautiful dreams. That's right. But let the garbage go. All right. People who don't deserve you. I just went through you guys. Rewind the live so you can hear everything that I told you. All right. Because when we are heartbroken, it is a trickle down effect. All right. That has been your reading. Aries, we move on to Leo. And we start with our angel answers. What do we have for Leo? What is the answer that we have for Leo? All right, ask your angels, Leo. If you have been disconnected from the divine, from the universe, from whatever it is that you believe in, not following your intuition, just feeling disconnected. These days, we are feeling like that. With everything happening in the world, we could feel like that. What do we have for Leo? What are the energies with Leo? What do they need to know? And it says throat chakra, authenticity, self-expression. Maybe you haven't been expressing yourself the way that you should. All right. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. So start speaking up, Leo, because I know you don't have a problem with that. First deck of Moonology. What do we have with this blue moon in Sagittarius for Leo? For Leo, please. And you have first quarter moon in Sagittarius. All right, that's double. Believe in your good luck. All right. I like to say believe in your blessings, but whatever tickles your pickle. All right. Double moon, because we're moon in Sagittarius, and now you get Sagittarius, your fellow fire sign. What do we have for Leo, please, with our second moonology deck? All right. Be bold and make the first move. All right. Whether this is a job, somebody you're interested in, speak. Speak, guys. This is the message. All right. You can't make this up. What do we have? I'm going to say for Sagittarius, Leo. It says, restore the broken self. Parts of you were left behind in pain. Call them home. You are ready to become whole again. All right, you guys. So you don't need that. Sorry. You are fine just the way you are. You don't need to be receiving breadcrumbs. You know your worth. Simple. All righty. What do we have for Leo? And we have, you weren't addicted to them. You were addicted to drama. All right. This might have been somebody who caused you a lot of drama. We might see the 5 of Wands. Heart racing isn't always love. Sometimes it's adrenaline. Drama feels alive. Peace feels silent. And real love doesn't leave your soul in suspense. It doesn't. You shouldn't have to be with somebody, wonder when are they going to call me. No. They should always be checking up on you. And if they can't do that, listen, life is short. Keep telling you, even when I do my weekly readings, right? Life is too short for the bullshit. All right. Moving on to tarot, I told you what may come out. We might see the Three of Swords. I just called it for Aries because I'm not just any reader. You see? And then when this happens, somebody else comes in with the lovers, Gemini energy. All right. So this might be a Gemini, not necessarily, right? But this is your ultimate soulmate. Somebody that you have a deep bonding with, that you spend a lot of time with, that you really get to know each other, right? That's what it's about. Not drama, not people keeping you in suspense, not people giving you breadcrumbs. None of that shit. What do we have for Leo? Next, we're doing Sagittarius, and I am ending the live of this. Yeah, so over. This person may have literally, truly like betrayed you, like did you so wrong, almost probably left you in the street, complete garbage, right? And now somebody better comes in. You can't make it up. Just something painful, painful that happened. One more, please, for Leo. Leo, please. Yeah, and whatever comes in real quick with the knight of swords. All right. If you go into something with somebody, it's just gonna happen so fast. You're just gonna know, you're gonna fight for what you believe together, not just you by yourself, together. You know what I mean? Like as a team. Not when you were in this relationship, feeling like, you were with somebody, but then feeling like you didn't exist. You could be living with somebody and feel like you don't exist. All right. What do we have for Leo in the shadows? You have the tower. Yep. What truth just broke through my defense? You needed to defend yourself from this person, right? You weren't going to stay there when all they were going to do is continue to bring drama and rob you of your peace. You weren't. You're smarter than that. And don't beat yourself up because you stood longer than what you should have. Money and career. What do we have for Leo, please? On the table. All right. So, time to put your demands on the table and get serious about what you want. Ask for a raise, a promotion, or a step up. If you've been in your job for a really long time, like I always say, a closed mouth does not get fed, right? So, put your demand on the table, start talking and say, well, this is what I deserve. If they cannot give it to you, I am not one to tell you what to do, or I can't tell you what to do, but know your worth, right? If you know you shouldn't be there, then it's time for you to go. What does the person on Leo's mind or in their love life wants to say? Why can I tell you the truth? There is somebody, Leo, that wants to let you know something, but it's not speaking. And I think you know this. But they're going to have no other choice because I think it has something to do a lot with their personal life. Oracle message. I feel my deck was so thin. What do we have for Leo, please? It's so sad how people, I sometimes watch the lives and there's so many people there watching readers that are just giving you the meaning of the cards and don't even come close as predicting the cards as I do. And they waste their time in those lives. It's incredible. Okay, so we were just talking about that, right? Communication. Express yourself openly and honestly and clear the air. Because you might be holding some type of resentment at work because, there might be people who are making more money than you and you've been there a long time and you work harder. So start talking, all right? Start talking. I told you about that even before that card came out. Why? Because I'm not just any tarot reader. All right. So moving right along. Oh, actually, that is it. Moving on to Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius, we are doing a moon reading for your sign. I don't need to tell you to take risks and be adventurous because you know that already. But if you have been procrastinating, your own moon is going to push you to not sleeping on the laurels, right? What do we have for Sagittarius? What is the answer to their question? All right, don't fall. Spirit, why do you do this to me? All right, I'm going to take the topic you're telling me. All right, let it go. There's something that you are needing to let go, Sagittarius. All right. I don't really have to explain that. We might see the Eight of Cups, the Six of Swords during tarot. What do we have for Sagittarius, please? All right, and it says third eye activation. Activate your third eye. Use your intuition because I feel that you guys are just closed. Close, close, close. Something may have happened where you lost your belief in the universe, your belief in whatever it is that you believe in. Okay. It says brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. All right. Start calling on your angels. Just because they're not there, it doesn't mean they're not there. Just because you can see them, it doesn't mean they're not there. All right. Start calling for guidance. What do we have for Sagittarius with the first Moonology deck? All right, a fiery climax approaches. All right, no shit. I know that you guys are Sagittarius, and with this new moon in your own sign, you're gonna be on fire. Really like doing things you probably never did before. What do we have for Sagittarius? And it says new moon in Scorpio. Go deeper. Go deeper within. Go deep. Go on hermit mode and see what's up in your inside. See what you're not admitting to yourself. We're gonna see what card comes out in your shadow self to see what in the world is happening with you. All right. Understand karmic returns. You couldn't make this up. You just couldn't. Whatever you put out is whatever you're going to receive. Simple, right? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Justice or the Ace of Swords, which to me, because I've been doing this for a gazillion years, the Ace of Swords is justice in the minor arcanas. And it says what you send out into the universe comes right back. Be mindful of your energy. Be mindful that you don't do things that you might regret, right? Because karma has everybody's address. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Justice and the Ace. And I see some of you may have not done things that were right, that now you're like, oh shit, karma's coming for me. You better believe it. So we might see the Nine of Wands. You might really be in your head. We might see the four. We might see the five, because you might have regrets with regards to something. I'm already in your energy. What do we have for Sagittarius? Empress, Temperance. You're in your own energy all over this reading. All right. So you have to find some type of moderation within your life. This could be you're partying too much, you're drinking too much, you're just doing too much. Even if that means you're not even resting. All right. Find the balance. Okay. Try to find moderation. Maybe you're eating things that you shouldn't be eating, right? Everything in moderation. And I mean everything. Okay. Four of Swords, you may be needing to rest. Some of you may have just gone through some medical situation. All right. And you may be in the process of healing. Okay. So they're telling you rest, contemplate. You do need to go within, as we saw before, right? Recover. See what it is that you're not seeing. Sleep on things, sleep on decisions, right? Don't make an abrupt decision, an abrupt move. All right. We might see with this one last card facing down, the Knight of Swords. Hmm. You're being given an opportunity. Now, with the Ace of Pentacles, keep in mind that, yes, the Ace of Pentacles is about opportunities, but it's an opportunity that comes in that you need to run with it. This is not something where you're going to go hangman mode, hermit mode, and be like, oh, I'll just do it when I feel like doing it. No, this is something that brings you abundance, but something that you need to jump on. Okay? You can't be wasting time. There's no other way to say it. All right, after this, I'm going to be doing the Spanish readings. What do we have for Sagittarius? All right, they're telling you to ask yourself with the Knight of Cups, what am I projecting onto this pursuit? Whatever that may be, you know your own story, right? Whatever it is you're going through, whatever we spoke about in the beginning. What do we have for Sagittarius and money and career? Okay, gestures. You may be asked to help someone out, or you may need a hand. Give deserve praise to others, and you will receive recognition too. All right. So give a helping hand. It's not always about us. If this is somebody who is coming into your job because of an internship, help them out. Simple. And somebody, if you need help, maybe coming in to help you out. All right. Final card for Sagittarius Oracle messages. What do we have for Sagittarius? All right. The love meant for me will never require struggle. Exactly. All right. So you don't need to be breadcrumbs. You don't need to struggle. You don't need for anybody to rob your peace. All right, you guys. Thank you, Sagittarius. You are the final read for this All Live Sagittarius Moon reading. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. I appreciate you. Don't forget to um join me during the weekly readings. All right. Thank you guys so much. I will see you soon. Take care. One love.